All right, excellent. So welcome everyone to today's kind of webinar on registered apprenticeship and the grant funding that has gone out to IRC and LSS, connecting refugees and asylees to registered apprenticeships funding. That one more person in here. And so today we're kind of going to cover the registered apprenticeship program. Gina will do a presentation as it kind of pertains to kind of job seekers engaging with registered apprenticeship. And then I'll do a small kind of just overview of what the grant is, what it can be used for. And then we can kind of, I think we're good to kind of maybe just take questions as they come along. I think we have a good amount of time to be able to kind of take questions as you have them. So feel free to kind of use the hand raise feature as you have a question, or if you're unable to unmute for whatever reason, let us know and you can kind of just pop questions in chat and we can take them from there. So whatever works for you works for us. So Gina, I will bring up your slides. Give me 2 shakes here to kind of just grab that. And here they are.
Every time you say that, I shake twice.
What?
Your 2 shakes.
The 2 shakes. Oh yeah, 2 shakes. Good. There we go. All right, excellent. So Gina, take it away, dear.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Joanna. You are so much fun. Just ahead of time, I did put our website link in the chat already. So I am going to just present on how we present to job seekers. So this is since you guys are meeting with them and you're the front line for them, this is the prudent information that we felt you would need for them. So you can go to the next slide. So this, and if they want, Joanna, anybody can have these slides. You can send them out in the group, so that's fine as well. This is just, the first slide is just the definition of what apprenticeship is. It is an earn and learn model. So they are an employee day one. That's number one, that has to be W-2, no 1099s. And what they're going to do is they're going to work there typically 40 hours a week. And then they're going to get paid for the 40 hours a week. And then they'll have classes that they will need to go to. The sponsors already have the classes lined up, so they don't have to worry about trying to figure out a schedule or anything like that. It's more so if they have home issues such as daycare, things like that, then they'll have to find arrangements for that to meet those schedules. Next slide. The 2 main components, like I said, is the on-the-job training. It's required at 2,000 on-the-job training hours per year. So it's pretty much a year work. I think they subtract the vacation, and 2 weeks of vacation, I think is what it is subtracted out of that. And then it's 144 hours of related instruction per year. That's a minimum. So some of our programs do have over that. Some of our programs meet just that qualification. And the related instruction that they're getting is core classes for that occupation. Next. There are 3 kinds of programs. You have your time-based, your competency-based, and your hybrid. Usually, most of our programs are time-based. When you're going to see competency and hybrid is usually in the non-traditional occupations. For us, that would be like IT, healthcare, things of that nature. Your traditional are going to be the construction trades. Go to the next one. These are the 5 main components that we need. So you definitely have to have business involvement. It has to be an employer to employ your apprentices. You have the structured on-the-job training. Each program has their work processes. So they're going to show us that this is what they're going to do over the course of a year. It's pretty much your everyday duties for that occupation. The related instructions. So we have a list, just like as if you were going to college and they have that catalog of classes, but the difference is you don't get to pick the classes here. The employers already pick the classes for you. The apprentices are going to get an increase in wage because there is a progressive wage scale with every program. So an example of that would be, let's say in the state of Maryland, plumbers on average make about $30 to $40 an hour. We'll stick with the $40 an hour just for math's sake. And it's a 4-year program. The first year they come in, they're not going to be making that $40 because they have no experience or anything like that. So they may make 50% of that. And as they complete, depending on how the sponsor sets it up, maybe every year, every 6 months, they'll get a percentage increase. So let's say the first year they come in at 50, the second year will be 60, 70, 80. And then when they graduate, now they're getting that 100% of what the journey worker makes. So they have to complete the hours per year as well as the related instruction. When they're ending, they do get a national certification from us that is recognized nationally that they completed the program. But also when it comes to the trade, some of them are licensed. So with plumbing, they have to go take the test and get their journey workers license, and then we give them a completion certificate. With HVAC and electrical, we give them the completion certificate. They go down to the licensing board, and the licensing board recognizes that completion certificate from a registered apprenticeship program, and they give them their license. So they pay the fee for the license, but they don't have to sit for the test. And that's only with the occupations that require that licensure. There we go. Next. These are the benefits you get as far as for the job seeker and the employer. For the job seeker, they're getting that hands-on experience. So if there's a change in career, they don't have to worry too much about, not knowing anything, because apprenticeship, the way the programs are set up, they really are set up for those who have no experience or for those who have some. So they don't have to worry about that. They're getting the hands-on education, which they are not paying for. So that's a plus. So there's no student debt. We work with all 16 community colleges in the state of Maryland. Majority of our programs have agreements with the colleges so that the classes that they're taking can turn into credits if they want to continue their education after their apprenticeship program. You're looking at long-term career. Registered apprenticeship programs have a 90, it went up to from 91 to 92. I think right now it's at a 93% retention rate. So usually when you're in an apprenticeship program, those apprentices, once they complete, we don't see them leaving that industry for many years to come. There's little or no cost for the education. Like I said, there's no debt for that student. The little cost I've seen has been for maybe an application fee, or that the apprentice has to pay for the books. I've seen that the sponsors will take that, like making a payment arrangement and take that right out of the check so they don't even see it, things like that. And that's so that they have skin in the game as well. And then you have the national accreditation, which is portable from state to state. Next. Basic requirements. 18 years of age, high school diploma or GED. As you can see on there, we have 16 because some of our programs also participate in the youth apprenticeship, but also some of our sponsors hire at 16. So things like CVS starts at 16 because they're in retail. Must be able to perform the job, high school diploma, GED, or in the process of getting that. I know that some of our programs don't require it at all, and it's not to say don't tell your job seekers don't go get their high school diploma or their GED. It's more so like, hey, you're not required to have this as you're coming in, but they are pushing for you to get it, because at the end of the day, education is key, and they want to make sure that apprentices know they're focused on not just the job, but also their education and their growth. Pass any test that particular sponsor may have. It could be a math test, could be an English test. Usually the math tests are usually Algebra 1, Algebra 2 level. When you're talking about the trades, it's usually a lot of measurements and the ability to work in the US. Next. These are some of the occupations that we have coming in. I don't know why it doesn't put it on 2 pages. I mean, on 1 page. It's really weird. Can we go to the next slide? The apprenticeship locator, is the next one? So the apprenticeship locator, and let me just keep going because I want to do the apprenticeship locator live. I'm going to share my screen and show you how that works. If we can go to the next. Oh, it is. Oh, I actually did it. Okay. But I like to do it in real life. So can I share my screen?
Yep, let me just cancel sharing mine. Stop sharing. Okay. Yep, you should be able to now.
Okay. So, okay. So when a job seeker reaches out to us, we usually give them, and everybody can see the website, correct? And don't shake your head because I can't see the screen. So,
yep, we can see it.
Okay, thank you. We send them to our website, and it's easier than like the labor.maryland.gov. We just do mdapprenticeship.com, and it leads you right to this page. We tell them this is our locator. So majority of our sponsors are going to be on here. They opt to be on this list. And we tell them to click that locator. And then you want to be an apprentice or search now, either one. It'll lead you right to our search engine. And I'm actually going to hit this. Make this a little bit bigger so that everybody can see. They get to click by county. And I instruct them, I say, listen, do not just pick the county you live in. Pick the surrounding areas, because the database is set up that the location is based off of the home base of the sponsor. So let's say, and then AT&T, let's say they are based in Prince George's County, but they do work all around Maryland. If your client comes in and they're from Baltimore City and they just click Baltimore City, it is not going to come up. It's because they're based in Prince George's County. So I always tell job seekers, click as many counties as you want that you're willing to work in, because usually a majority of our programs are based out of Baltimore City, the Baltimore area, Prince George's County. So we're going to hit all for now, though. They can do youth or regular or both. We do the regular. And as you can see, as you go down, they have the option of choosing between occupation, industry, or the sponsor. So if they know a particular sponsor's name and they said, the sponsor says they have an apprenticeship program that's registered for the state, they can click sponsor and look up that employer's name and see if it's on our list automatically. Let's say they have no idea what the industry is. They just know the name of the occupation, but they don't know what it falls under. They can look up by occupation or industry. Today, we're going to do industry just to be able to pick something. And when you hit continue, it does drop down. And as you can see, the industries start off in automotive, biofarming, biotechnology, building trades. So there is an abundance of industries that we have listed on here. Let's see, we're going to do, and you can click more than one. Do gaming as well. Let's do an elevator. So I did concrete finisher, cybersecurity, elevator, gaming, and healthcare, just to show you a variety of what we have. You do search, and it comes up with a snapshot of who the apprenticeship is. These are the sponsor's name in the first column, the counties in which they are covering, the occupation, the industry, and then the sponsor's actual full sponsor name. But what they want is this view details. Okay, so we'll do this one because it's patient care technician. When they click on that view details, they're going to see the same thing the snapshot showed, the county in which they work in, the type of apprenticeship program, the occupation, industry, the sponsor's name, the sponsor's address. But this is where it gets more detailed, where they're going to have a description of the occupation, how long the program is, the total number of hours per work, what the starting rate is, the minimum age, and the minimum requirements. This is the important part, is they apply. This is the contact person. They're not going to contact us in their website. They are not going to contact the Maryland Apprenticeship and Training Program. They're going to contact the sponsor directly because we do not have any bearing on their hiring needs or their application process. We have run their program. We know their program is valid. It is active. We do their reviews of their program to make sure that they are giving the related instruction, they are giving their hours, and they are treating their employees properly. But we don't govern how they hire. So they have to reach out to the contact person directly. So I always stress that because we get a lot of resumes and we get a lot of job seekers who say, hey, I want to do this. Here's my resume. And they think we place them. We don't do any placing. That's up to the sponsor and what they need. So this is the information they really want, is who to contact and who to send their resumes to. Any questions, comments, concerns so far? Nope.
Don't be shy. Thank you, Gina. Thank you for that.
Not a problem. Thank
Awesome.
you guys for listening.
Yep. Cool. And so now I'll kind of go over just the kind of grant itself. And so give me 2 shakes. Give me the 2 shakes, Gina. All right. So hopefully we can see that. All right. Yes, no, here we go. Okay. All right. So again, recently, our Division of Workforce Development and Adult Learning kind of granted funds to both LSSNCA and IRC Silver Spring for this initiative of connecting refugees and asylees to registered apprenticeship funding. Registered apprenticeships. And so why did we want to do this? Essentially, our mission is aimed at ensuring that businesses have the skilled workers and job seekers have access to employment and training resources and services. And so we're really gearing up to see how can we make all of our workforce services more accessible, more equitable for all populations, to include obviously the refugee, New American populations as well. And so that's kind of the big why, is kind of really continuing the work of ensuring that all workforce services are accessible to all, with keeping in mind the special populations, obviously, that we're focused on, New Americans being one of them. So what is it? Essentially, it's funding to support IRC and LSS's work authorized clients with supportive services to connect with Maryland Registered Apprenticeship opportunities. And so the Maryland Registered Apprenticeship opportunities will be the opportunities that are located in that apprenticeship locator that Gina just kind of demoed. And so those are the opportunities for which the funding can be used for. And so what are supportive services? And so they can include helping individuals obtain a driver's license, if someone needs transportation assistance, say for an apprenticeship, they need to get a uniform or tools or any related equipment. Gina mentioned kind of with the related instruction, do they need to purchase some books or materials in order to be able to participate in those, in that related instruction. Barriers that we see sometimes for folks are also child and dependent care. So do they need some assistance with child care? Some of these occupations are within unions. And so if they were to need to pay union initiation fees, the supportive funding could be used for that. Clothing for interviews. Gina mentioned if there's an application or if there's a test that folks need to take and they need to pay fees for those. It was mentioned on a previous call, if someone were to need some type of credential evaluation in order to connect with the registered apprenticeship opportunities as well. And so knowing that this is not an exhaustive list, right? These are ideas of what we think supportive services may look like for the clients for which you're working with. However, there's always that others as applicable. And so if there were to be something that's not on this list, that essentially the overarching theme would be, is this something that's keeping the individual from accessing this opportunity? And if so, let's see if this could be deemed as a supportive service in order to assist that individual with connecting with the registered apprenticeship, if that makes sense. And then when, and so the grant funds are available now, and they're available until next April of 2024. If needed, an extension may be requested in writing within 90 days prior to that April 1st date. And so that's kind of all that I have. So we do have plenty of time for questions. I know we scheduled this for an hour and a half. We wanted to make sure that we did build in enough time for questions for folks. And so I will kind of stop sharing my screen just so we can kind of have definitely some type of dialogue and welcome any and all questions as it pertains to the registered apprenticeships themselves, the funding, your clients specifically as well. So feel free to kind of raise your hands if you're able to and want to unmute to ask a question, or even pop something in chat if you're unable to unmute and do that. I see Pajan.
Yeah, I think mine, and any apologies if I missed it in the actual presentation, but what is the actual timeline? So after we submit the registration for the apprenticeship, do the search with them, what is the expected timeline for them or us to hear back from a potential apprenticeship?
That depends on the sponsor's hiring needs. And it also depends on occupation. So if you're looking at the trades, for example, majority of them will start taking applications, what do we say, like maybe February until about August, because most of them start this, they're kind of on the same rotation as schools. So they're going to start classes like August, September. So they're trying to get people in prior to and get them vetted in prior to. And like I said earlier, it depends on the hiring needs of the sponsor. They should be getting back to you right away and saying, hey, we at least received your application. This is what we're doing, things like that, or your inquiry. So when reaching out, I strongly suggest if there's a phone number, call them. Have your clients call them. Are you accepting applications? Or when are you accepting applications? If we're talking about like Insulators 24 in Laurel, they take applications all year round. And they open and they take them. I think their hours are 9 to 12 is when they're taking the applications. You have elevators, local 10. They are a very hard union to get into. So when they're taking applications, you got to kind of get them when you can get them. And it's not guaranteed that they're ever going to call you back because they may only have 4 slots to fill. And they still have to go back from the past year of applicants that passed the test and things like that. So it's an iffy. When you're talking about healthcare, IT, things like that, those vary. Sometimes they're taking them right away. It's an everyday thing. Sometimes they're doing it certain times a year. So it varies. So you kind of got to go old school. You kind of got to go old school and just reach out and call them and say, hey, are you taking applications right now? When you need to, or what are your dates that you're taking them? Because it's different and they change them up for every last one of them. If we could, have a list of just that when they accept applications, I can guarantee you it would be valid for probably 1 or 2 days because they would change something.
All right. Sounds good to me. Well, thank you so much.
Not a problem.
Joanna, I know when we met previously, we had discussed if you could send out to like this entire listserv of sponsors about this relationship that you're building and see if anyone wants to like perhaps self-select to be more interested in working with IRC and LSS clients. Did anything come from that?
Yeah, it actually did. And so we did develop like a flyer to send out to the registered apprenticeship sponsors. I got that out to Chris and Gina this week, last week? This week? This week. Okay. And so Gina, do you have any update on that, whether or not that did go out or if it's pending to go out, or you are muted, dear?
I owe you a quarter. It is pending because we have to send it down for marketing to do their thing to create a flyer. But I think that once that goes out, we should get a good response back. So.
Well, I did create the flyer.
We'll touch base. Say, yeah.
So I did send you the content, and then I did actually
So I saw the
created and sent
content
it.
email.
Okay. Okay.
I was out, and I have to be honest, I was out Monday and Tuesday. I was
That's
sick.
fine. Okay.
So, and yesterday I felt like it went till 10 o'clock at night. And it did go till 10 o'clock at night, and I still haven't gotten through all my emails. So
That's all good. Okay. No, I'll circle back. Yeah. So yes, Corey, that has begun. And so the flyer was created in order for us to connect with the sponsors and let them know that this initiative is underway. The contact information that we put on that flyer was mine, just if they wanted to learn just more about the initiative in itself. And then the flyer also contained contact information for LSS. I put Kelly Gaines on there. And then I also had Catherine for IRC as like a point of contact if they wanted to connect directly with the resettlement agencies, if that's helpful.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. We're definitely trying to see how can we more engage them on both sides, not just having, you know, clients apply, but really letting them know that this is underway and how can they be more kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Intentional about making those connections versus just waiting for an application.
Yep. And then in the meantime, I know I asked this last time as well, but do you have any idea of which of the sponsors would be better fits for our types of clients who, I'm thinking about the clients who have more limited English proficiency. Do you know which of your sponsors would be more lenient on that?
I can't confirm or deny any of that, but in a good way, because you know I can say automatically I can say the trades. You know, I could say the trades, because I know that a lot of our sponsors are starting to understand that there's a bunch of different cultures out there, and so some of their training is in Spanish, and they're making an effort to have those Spanish classes and having translators there. Meaning, who was I with? I was at Mid-Atlantic Carpenters, and we went into one of their classrooms, and literally they had tablets on the tables for those who needed translators. So there's a mic in the room where the translation is coming up on the tablets as the instructor is speaking in English. So, which I thought was very cool, considering. So it's, unless they tell us or I see it, I can't really pinpoint which ones. But the trades are usually, they could care less about your background, really. They're like, hey, if you're willing to work and put in the hard work and willing to learn, we can do that. A lot of our sponsors actually are like that. It's, are you able to do the job? Do you have the willingness to do the job, the urge to do the job, you know? And that's what they really want, is somebody who is committed, you know, and they'll make arrangements where they need to make arrangements. So.
And I will confirm too, this is a question that I have for myself, is that, you know, could the funding that has been granted be used to assist with like interpretation for a certain amount of time for an individual? And so I would like to say yes, but I want to take it to the powers that are to make sure that that would definitely be an allowable use of the funds for a supportive service for an individual. And so it's on my to-do list to ask tomorrow during a meeting that I have with the powers that are. And so I can get back to everyone after I've gotten a clear answer of yes or no, of whether or not that would also be an allowable use of the funds for folks to have interpreters as needed, whether it be through an interview or for like an orientation process or something like that. If that would be, if you feel that that would be helpful to some of the clients in order to make those connections, again, trying to remove as many of those barriers as possible. That's kind of what the supportive services is for, is like, how can we use the funds to remove a barrier that would, you know, limit someone's ability to access a registered apprenticeship opportunity.
Yeah. I think one of the things when I do career fairs with job seekers and I'm just doing presentations with just job seekers, one of the things I tell them is don't be afraid to make friends. If you're in an apprenticeship program or, you know, you're going for that application process, find somebody there that, you know, you caught their eye and they said hello, and, you know, maybe they speak your language or they don't, or you know, it's, you don't know unless you ask. And if you go to somebody who, has caught your eye and they speak your language, and you say, basically, can you help me? Can we partner up? Can we help each other? I have a car, I can pick you up and drive you here if you can help me with the schoolwork. And, that's speaking volumes, and they have to be willing to do that though. And I tell job seekers all the time, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody needs help sometimes, and it's hard. It's a pride thing. It's hard for me to ask for help. It's easier to say than to do, but I force myself to do it. So I'm not just speaking it and promoting it and not doing it in my daily life. So it's team up.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
I wanted to follow up about another thing that we had discussed in our last meeting. I didn't get a chance to email you the names of those sponsors that we've been having trouble getting in contact with. But, I do want to follow up about that at some point. I mean, one of them is CVS. I think it could be, a great, I think it's a partnership that has a lot of potential for our clients because of, the manager role and the pharmacy tech role. And I think those are roles that our clients, a lot of our clients could potentially be interested in. And so would really like to, get that going and start having those conversations. Daniel, we have points of contact for each of our employer partners, and those include sponsors, apprenticeship sponsors, as needed. So our point of contact for our partnership with CVS would be Daniel, and he's on this call. But and so we've reached out to them and had some initial emails back and forth with both someone who I think is kind of in the CVS headquarters, is my guess, and then someone in the local store. But after that, we kind of lost contact with them.
Okay. So that may be some of the issues because, and like you said, Daniel's on this call. I have no idea who Daniel is. So meaning not that he's not a great part of CVS, but he is not the director or the admin on their apprenticeship program. And that's
Daniel
who I
is-
deal with. So,
Daniel is our staff.
oh, okay.
So, I mean, he's our staff that's assigned to working for that with that
CVS.
partnership.
Okay. So you really want to build the connections with the directors and the contact person of the program, not of the company or their HR department. You really want to build that connection with the program themselves, because they're going to know what the needs are. They're going to know what the application process is. I know that CVS also works heavily with Goodwill, because I know Goodwill does some part of their training. So they come in with credit for their program. So that may be another avenue to reach into them. But if you are having issues with CVS, just contact me. Let me know so that I can give you their direct contact, because I have Stacy and Erica that I work with. And they're really good with getting back.
We were emailing with Erica.
Okay. And they haven't gotten back? Really? She's really she's usually, but I'll put
That's going a few months back, but I can give it another try.
Yeah. Just CC me on the email and see how that changed.
Sure. Do you mind putting your email in the chat, actually?
Yes, can I ask that?
Let's see here. As I'm jumping from two screens, so.
And then the other one was an IT partnership. MMA, do you remember the name of that company that we were talking with? They weren't really ready for an apprenticeship, I think it sounded like. They didn't really have it set up yet. MMA, you're muted.
Looks like you are unmuted, but we cannot hear you. Sometimes it's helpful if you want to hop off and hop back in.
She's muted now.
You talk on Mary's phone.
Oh, you ladies are right next to each other.
Yes,
Excellent.
we are. Yeah, everything was plugged in, so I don't really know. So the company was named WIS, WIS, Ed, ED, LLC, and we spoke with Dwayne, and I forget the name of the other person. I'd have to check. We had an initial conversation where the two representatives from WIS Ed LLC said that they would be interested in like us just sending resumes over to them of clients that potentially would be a good fit, and they'd either look for a position for our clients internally, or if they they're very in touch with like other similar organizations in the area in like the tech cybersecurity field. So like if they heard of another opening, they would refer like those resumes to those organizations. But Dwayne, the head of WIS at ED LLC, he like had a major surgery recently, and they were just not in a place to like put their energy towards like our partnership. I think like because of the surgery, he's sort of in a limited capacity right now. So it was Dwayne and Natasha. That's their names. Yeah. So basically he's in a limited
Trans-ed?
capacity. Sorry?
Was it Trans-ed?
No, I can send the information in the chat. But yeah, it just didn't seem like they had enough capacity to work with us at the moment.
Yeah, it's on there. I pulled it up. It's yeah, WISED LLC. They have cybersecurity analyst, SOC analyst 1.
On our
They're-
site?
They're the last one that's listed if you look by the sponsor. Yeah, and Dwayne Wilson is listed as the contact there, as Emma May was talking about.
I'm sorry, as I go and search them. How to search them? Because I don't recall the name. That's when I was like, I don't recall that. It may be a new sponsor.
Yeah, well, there's almost
I can tell you this: when it comes to the IT industry, those get filled really quick. Everybody wants to be in IT, and oh, okay. I didn't even know them. Let's see. Oh, because they're based out of Glen Burnie. Okay, that's why they're not on my radar. So I do cover all of Maryland, but I focus on Prince George's County, so I apologize. They look like they're a new sponsor. So what I can do is I can shoot me an email, and I can find out who the navigator is on this particular occupation and connect you guys and go from there and see, what they can do. Because it may be if they're a new program and not ready, and it's like, okay, we just got approved. They're some of our sponsors, especially if they're new, they'll bring in one apprentice at a time, just to get their feet wet, things like that. And it may be incumbent workers that they're using. So all of our sponsors, and I'm going to leave the trades out of it because they're usually union-based and they're based off of that occupation. A lot of them have other positions that they don't put as an apprenticeship program. So I encourage them to also let you guys know about those positions that they're also willing to open up to your individuals. Sometimes you'll run into programs that say they have a registered apprenticeship program and they don't. So definitely check our list to see if they're on there. If you don't see them, you can definitely email us and we can check, because not all of the sponsors are on there. Some of them get so many applications, or they only hire incumbent workers, that they won't be on our locator. So, and this gets updated. We try to update it as much as we can, but sometimes that it doesn't go as quick as we want it to. So some of the information, like you may see, like a starting rate be under the minimum wage, they need to be updated, and the sponsor hasn't gotten to us to update it. So everything, all of our programs start at minimum wage or better. So know that if it's something that's under minimum wage, that just needs to be updated, and we can shoot me an email so that we can get that rectified as soon as possible, so that information is up there. They didn't have the capacity at the moment. Okay, so that may be it, that they just, they met their hiring needs at this moment. But it looks like it's a year program, so I would try back in 6 months. So just see if they're willing to take another one. When it's a year program, try back in 6 months. See what happens.
And I'm wondering if, we can look at the other apprenticeships, especially for Prince George's and Montgomery, because, that's where our clients are located. But I figured maybe for IT, it could be remote anyway.
Yeah.
But we'll look at the other apprenticeships. I'm just wondering if you have any recommendations about, for our clients in the IT field specifically, wanting to be in like coding. Like, are there specific apprenticeships or specific sponsors that you think we should target for them?
When you're talking about coding, I haven't seen one for coding, and I could be just I probably have missed something, and most likely I probably did. But a lot of them are going to be IT, cybersecurity, in those levels. I do have a program that is, but it's not official yet, so they haven't done all their paperwork, and they want to do software engineering, and they're out of Montgomery County. So once that comes about, I can announce it in one of the skilled immigrants meetings, and let everybody know. I think I'm going to start doing that anyways, giving them every 2 months we have our MATC meeting, our Maryland Apprenticeship and Training Council meeting, where we do all the approvals of new programs and things like that. So maybe give you an update every 2 months on what's out there.
That would be awesome.
And go from there, so that you can say, oh, okay, because it may not be on the locator once they are approved. Again, I work for this wonderful state, and I'm also a veteran, so I'm used to the hurry up and wait. So hurry up and get me all this stuff, and then we're gonna wait for a while. So you won't see them on there for maybe a couple of months until they get all the paperwork into us to say, yes, I want to be on there, because it's something that they can opt into. They don't have to be on there if they don't want to, but it's good just to check with us. So if I do that, update every month, every 2 months, because we meet every 2 months, then you guys will have an updated list of what's new up there. Or I can create a spreadsheet, if that helps, like a spreadsheet that we can all kind of tap into. I don't know. Joanna, you let me know.
You let me know your capacity to maintain that and update it. If it's something that you can circle around with me when it comes to, when things actually get approved and what it is and who all, whatever information you're able to share at that time, I'm happy to circulate that around with the task force newsletter. And so just be like, hey, new approvals, these are what they're going to be in, etc.
But I can have an ongoing Google sheet too. I can have an ongoing Google sheet.
If you share that with me, I can always download it, because just sharing sometimes within the state is just a little hard based on that.
Very true.
But just as far as that newsletter, I don't know if everyone on the call here actually already gets that newsletter. And if so, great. And if not, and you want to, let me know. You just pop your email in the chat. I'm happy to add you to that distribution list as well. So that way that information can hit you directly as it comes out. Just a weekly newsletter that just goes out with various information, of which now we'll kind of try to get a little bit more of this registered apprenticeship information as well, as far as new sponsors as they get approved. All right, excellent. Okay, cool.
And so regarding MMA's question, difficulty getting in contact with apprenticeships. MMA, I think we just want you to, make a list of who you've tried to reach out to, and when, and then we'll send that on to Gina.
Yes.
Right.
Sounds good.
I was shaking my head. I'm like, I got quiet. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if
Yeah,
my
you-
mic was gonna work.
Yeah, if you shoot me a list, then I can at least, reach out to the navigators and say, hey, these sponsors are in the area and are not getting back in a timely manner, so that they can say, hey, you need to get back in a timely manner, and kind of put you guys on the radar. But also it helps them, because what I want is for you guys to be able to build relationships with sponsors, so that they can say, you know what, I'm working with this organization and this is how we're getting our skilled immigrants or individuals that are not on our radar, that we would never usually see, because we go to high schools and these certain career events, and we don't get to see these individuals, or they don't have our information. So I mean, the same thing when we do reviews, at least, and I'm speaking for myself, and when I do reviews of programs, when I talk to them, and I see that their minority levels are down, or things like that, or I can see that they're not very diverse. I'm like, hey, you need to get these numbers up, and they're like, yes, we do. What can we do? I'm like, well, have you got in touch with these people? Have you got in touch with this group? Especially when you're in Montgomery County and Prince George's County, where we know there's a lot of resettlement agencies and things of that nature. So I'm like, why are you not getting in touch with them? Like, this is who you need to reach out to. So I think if we keep throwing it in their face, they'll be more apt to do that, because some of them need women. I'm like, well, get in touch with the women's shelters. Here's some women groups that you can help, and they need it. So it's just finding innovative ways to connect you guys to them. So
Yeah, that's great.
Other questions, comments, concerns? Whatever you got, bring it to the table. I don't see anything else coming through chat. Hopefully we got everything there. Okay. All right. So again, hopefully this was helpful for everyone on the call. I will circulate around the presentations from today to be helpful. I will drop my information in chat as well for anybody who would want to connect with me. Feel free. And yeah, so we'll have that information. And again, we're here to support in any way we can. Like, don't be afraid to ask. Don't hesitate to ask if there's a question, if there's something that's not working the way we would hopefully want it to work, like let us know. And as you can see, Gina is very willing to support and kind of reach out and see how we can continue to make those connections with the sponsors themselves as well. And so however we can support, continuing to plug us, let us know. The hope is that we will be able to use this funding as much as possible to connect as many clients as we can to registered apprenticeship opportunities, whether it be their first job, which would be phenomenal, right? That someone would be on a career path from the get-go, or if it's even for, I know a lot of folks have kind of those economic empowerment programming. So folks who are coming back and looking to do other things, how can we then connect those individuals with, more of these registered apprenticeship opportunities as well. So kind of various ways to look at this, and however it can best, benefit the clients, and getting into career paths is really what it's all about, because that's exactly what a registered apprenticeship is. It is a career path for folks with family sustaining wages, benefits, the whole nine. And so definitely that's exactly what this initiative is for. How do we get more folks connected with these opportunities? So I was able to grab everybody's email out of chat. If within your respective teams, you want to send me more emails, you got my email in chat, you can surely send me that. I can add whomever is interested in being on the task force newsletter. Again, it goes out weekly and just kind of highlights various news information as it pertains to skilled immigrants specifically, but sometimes that information is for all. And then just different events that are going on, hiring events, job fairs, information sessions, etc. And so, and as you get it, if you're one of the folks that's getting it and want to reshare that out too, it's up for grabs. Feel free to share it with whomever you feel can benefit from that information. All right, any other last questions, comments, concerns? We got plenty of time if we need it, but if it's not needed, obviously everyone's happy to get time back in their day. All right, excellent. So again, I'm gonna stop the recording now.
You're welcome.